Hi, I am Elham Raker. I'm a pediatrician and now a parent coach. I have two teenage kids, 16 and 13. As a pediatrician, I have been in many different situations, scenarios, clinical places, I guess you could say. And honestly, the thing that I thought was always missing was a connection. There was never enough time, there was never enough space. It was always, let's take care of this problem and then move on. And I would kind of ask if you had any questions, but honestly, I was hoping you wouldn't because there was always so many people waiting, and it was always this uncomfortable feeling like I'm not doing the best that I can. When the pandemic started, I had already started thinking about what else I could do to be a better provider to my families and to feel more satisfied for myself. And that is when I discovered Jai Parenting Coaching Institute. And another pediatrician actually had done it, and I saw her posting about it and learned more about it and thought this could really be the missing piece. This could be how I could really provide more of that support for parents. And I didn't want to be that in and out, take care of this immediate problem and then you go figure out the rest. Because as a mom, being on these different Facebook groups and parent support groups, parents were asking questions that were, you could see the need and you could see that they really needed help and answers, but not maybe from parents, strangers. I felt that they really needed the support and there wasn't a place to get it. So to be able to provide that, to be able to provide that without a time limit, and to really feel like I was making a difference, priceless. Teaching parents skills to be a parent, to show up that they want to be, can have immense effects on children's health. For one, we know about the ACE, the adverse effects, the childhood effects, that if you have any kind of trauma in childhood, how that could affect your health, right? So that could be things like abuse, verbal, physical, neglect. I mean, there's so many things, and there's actually a score. So we know that there's a health benefit to parents providing good, loving care, support, attachment, all those things, 100%. Now, you could say, well, as long as I don't hit my child or abuse my child or neglect, there's all those things that are, I like to call them like the big T traumas versus the little T traumas. 100%. Listen, I mean, there's a different aspect to being abused and neglected, and all those things can have very realistic lifelong effects that, of course, we can help. And it's important to also note that there's the little T's. There's the times where your child just didn't feel like they were being seen or heard, that they were put in time out and didn't get to process whatever was going on. All those things that I think we don't educate enough to parents, right? I'm not putting this on the parents. I think there's a lack of education in the system. Even I, as a pediatrician, even I, as going through higher education, my education was timeout, right? Like put the child in timeout. That is the proper way to deal with it. And we now know from science, from research, from all those things that we're asking these little children with underdeveloped brains to process things by themselves. Well, that in and of itself can be traumatic. So this education, providing these tools, letting parents know that, in fact, the way that you want to parent is probably more correct than the way you've been told to parent. Because the way you want to parent feels good. Feels good to you, it feels good to the child. And ultimately, that's going to have so many more benefits than the consequences and the punishing, because we want to make sure they grow up to be, adults that understand how the world works. I truly decided to do parent coaching and sign up with Jai to benefit me in more of a business, more of a what can I provide for other people. And sure, it'll help me be a better parent, right? Like, how could it not? The first 3 months of Jai coaching is just about what we would, what our clients would go through. So I was blown away probably in the first week with my aha moments. Some of it was hard because my kids were older. So some of it was like, I did that. And I had to really come to terms with that, which was good. I think also not just for me, but as a tool to teach others, because we can't change the past, but we certainly can change the future. And any point in time that you learn these skills is going to make a huge difference. So I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about the importance of the inner child. Um, I had great parents growing up. They are married. They were always there for me. Um, I never lacked anything in that arena. And I also had to realize there were things I did not get, and that was not their fault. And it was up to me now as an adult to figure that out and to give myself what I needed. So, if nothing else, I'm showing my children that I am doing the work, that I'm a work in progress. I've literally said that to my kids, and I'm going to mess up, but I'm going to keep trying, and that they should do the same. I'm not going to be the perfect parent, not no matter how many parenting classes I take. So it changed relationships. It changed the way I saw relationships. It changed relationships with my husband, with even friends, just being more accepting of myself, of them, and realizing, we're all doing our best, and that's the best we can accept. Imposter syndrome is real in all of us. Certainly, for whatever reason, the more educated we are, the more we have it. As a pediatrician and now a parent coach, it was like my husband makes fun of me, like, how many more degrees do you want to get? But there is that aspect of who am I, and what makes me special? Who am I to say that I know how you should be with your kids? The truth is, I mess up with my kids a lot. We go through moments where it's like, I should have done that differently. I could have done that differently. As a parent coach, I don't think it's about being perfect, because that's not realistic. It's about walking the walk, right? Like, you're in it with your kids, and you're able to provide that empathy to other parents that are in it with their kids. Because at the end of the day, like I said, we are all doing our best. There is no perfect, there is no absolute. And once we realize that, and we realize we're able to not only realize that for ourselves, but give that to other parents, I truly think that's a gift. And that is one of my biggest, not only as a parent coach, as a pediatrician, when parents would come in and say, are we doing this right? Are we doing that right? And why isn't he? A lot of it was so much reassurance, like, you're doing great. Sometimes things are just hard, and that's not on you. So that is something that as a parent coach, we can also say, hey, it's hard for me too. And I've done the training, and I've done the reading, and I've done all of that. So it's okay if it's hard, and I'm here to hold your hand through it. So, we can get to it together. So I don't think having, all the experience and all the lessons and all the things is required. We're all learning and we always will be. There's definitely a fear of coming out, getting your certifications, getting all of it, and then how do I present myself? How do I market myself? How do I grow my business? How do I do the things that honestly I could say as a physician, that's certainly not what we think about when we go into medicine. It's not about how to make the money, but it's important, right? It's also, if you don't have a buy-in, it's less likely that your parents, your clients will follow through on the things that you talk about. So yes, making money is an important part of it, for them and for you, and it's absolutely possible. I do have to say the caveat that after I went through the program, although I did do it for the business, what I received, I didn't need to make money to have been absolutely okay with the investment I made. So that is something to consider, is that you get so much more out of it, right? When we talk about ROI, I'd already made my ROI just by going through it. But then doing what I loved and making money from it, that was like the icing on the cake. So it takes time, it takes patience. It's just putting yourself out there, which anytime I think about, marketing, or I have to do my website, or I have to like the businessy things, I always go back to why I'm doing this. And it's truly to help kids, right? Because by helping the parents, I am helping the kids so much in their future and everything they will accomplish. So when I have that in my head, the only way I'm going to be able to do that is to put myself out there, is to market, is to keep saying the same message, is to sending it out. So when it's uncomfortable or when it feels hard, I go back to that, because the reason why I'm doing this is the reason why I have to keep doing the things to get to it, right? And the end result is that you'll get clients that are so grateful to have had you in their lives. And when you keep that in mind, you'll jump through hoops. It doesn't matter. You'll do whatever it takes to get that. My parent coaching business has been great. I've really enjoyed working with parents. It's amazing how excited I feel, I guess is the best way to put it. I mean, I remember going to work, getting there and wanting to be excited for the day, but also knowing what was coming, right? It was going to be a busy day. It was going to be a full day. I knew at some point someone was going to be really sick and it was going to take up my time. I knew at some point someone was going to be really late. They were going to be upset. It was just, you just knew that's what the day was going to bring. By the end of the day, I was done. I was exhausted. I was ready to go home. And yet I still had to be a parent and be there for my kids who hadn't seen me all day and, wanted the best of me. As a parent coach, every phone call I leave, I'm more excited and more exhilarated than starting. And to go through work feeling better at the end of it than when you started, I never even thought that that was a reality or a possibility.